Obviously, the Chicago Bears are one of the biggest disappointments from the 2024 season. After being hyped up all offseason, the Bears finished 5-12 under rookie quarterback and number 1 overall pick Caleb Williams. Williams' 2024 season seems to be heavily polarizing to many NFL fans. A lot of people think Caleb's 2024 season was severely disappointing, and he was part of the many issues that plagued the Bears during the year. While there are plenty of people who are very happy with Caleb Williams' rookie year and say the problems lie within the rest of the team and not Caleb Williams. Obviously, you probably know the Bears' offensive line situation in 2024 wasn't what I would call ideal, as well as the big coaching problems and play calling. Overall, to this point, I've been on the side of the minority, believing that Caleb Williams played fantastic given the circumstances. Since I will be eventually ranking all the quarterbacks going into next season, and this is a way to maybe get away from all the draft talk that's been possibly gotten exhausting over the past few months, I have watched every single throw from Caleb Williams' 2024 season, and I will be analyzing it in today's video. And before we get into it, be sure to like and subscribe for more NFL content. So now, let's get into my thoughts about Caleb Williams' rookie season. We will be going over everything I saw from Williams, the play calling and the surrounding offense, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's dive into the film. There are plenty of strengths to Caleb Williams' game, but none are more apparent than the arm talent. It is as advertised with Caleb Williams, and you can easily see that on this play where Caleb unleashes an absolute laser to DJ Moore during the Bears' comeback versus the Vikings. Easily one of the best throws of the entire season, and it shows you exactly why you draft a quarterback with a rocket arm. And there are tons of these throws all over the film. He has a lightning quick release and also has a great sidearm to deliver difficult passes. We've known Caleb has had a cannon for a while now, but it's still one of his biggest strengths from the past season, and it jumps off the film. The tape is littered with high-level throws from Caleb Williams. 1 to 2 times a game, he will make a throw where you see exactly why he went first in the draft. He easily had a handful of throws that were some of the best in the league this year. Williams' ceiling is on display every single game, and if he can move to make the other aspects of his game more consistent, he can be easily one of the most fun quarterbacks to watch in the NFL next season, because of his ability to make these insane high-level elite throws that are on par with throws from the elite tier of quarterbacks in the NFL. And piggybacking off of that, Caleb's ability to fit throws into tight windows is elite. There's not a throw he thinks he can't make, and that shows on film, for better and worse, but mostly for the better. So many times he leaves defenders grasping at air while the ball sizzles right past them. One of the best qualities of Caleb Williams coming out of USC was his ability to extend and create in the backfield, and that certainly is translated. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the league already at improvisation and making defenders miss in the backfield. Sometimes he relies on it a bit too heavily, but it is still a great quality. He always seems to have that eye in the back of his head, and with his offensive line this year, that's a great quality to have. He is incredibly elusive and easily breaks arm tackles to extend and create in the backfield. And while he is fantastic at improvising, he also displays great accuracy on the move while extending those plays. On the move, his accuracy was at its best this year, and we will get into the rest of his accuracy a little later, but for now, on the run, he was hitting throws left and right and looked incredible. And something that I praised Caleb coming out of college for was his ability to constantly scan the field through his reads. And to start the year, I feel like he didn't do that as much. It felt like he was staring down his first read and was often too late to come off of it if it wasn't open. But as the season went on, I saw a lot more of him going back to what he did at USC, scanning the field in the pocket. It seemed he got more used to the NFL speed after the start of the year, and so he started speeding up his processing and progressions. So that is definitely something Bears fans could look forward to, especially coming off of a quarterback like Justin Fields, who constantly was slow through his progressions, and it'll be nice to have a quarterback who can truly scan the field and get through all of his reads. There were plenty of times Caleb was able to get through full field reads relatively quickly, and that will be a big asset for him and the Bears going forward. And another great aspect of Caleb while he was dealing with his offensive line this year was he showed a good ability to maintain good footwork in the pocket. While dealing with constant pressure, most young quarterbacks' footwork would usually break down as the season goes on, but Williams maintained consistent, solid footwork throughout 2024. While scanning the field, I felt he always had a solid base, and overall, his footwork really allowed for him to drive his passes into those tight windows like we talked about earlier. a quality that I certainly appreciate more after getting through Quinn Ewers' film. And also, something you wouldn't think from a rookie quarterback, especially a gunslinger type, he took great care of the football in 2024. He did have 6 fumbles, but he only lost 2. But in terms of pure passing, he rarely made truly bad decisions and put the ball into harm's way. The season started off rough, but over the last 12 weeks, he only threw 2 interceptions. That is outstanding for a rookie quarterback, and he still played aggressive. At least in the short to intermediate areas of the field, he didn't back down from tight window throws and still maintained an aggressive processor. So overall, there is a lot to work with Caleb Williams. His elite traits certainly translated from college to the league, and he has one of the best arms in the NFL, and showcases elite level throws on a weekly basis. His aggressive processor allows for him to take advantage of any gaps in the defense's zone, and he got better at going through his reads as the season went on. And he maintained very good footwork. And obviously, the play extension is elite. There is no doubt Williams flashed greatness in 2024, but with all these flashes, you wonder why his rookie season wasn't talked about more highly. Well, I'm going to get into that next. So, starting off for the weaknesses of Caleb Williams that I saw, honestly, I really did not expect this to be nearly as big of an issue as it was for Caleb Williams, but easily his biggest issue for me on film from Williams, and this is something that needs to be fixed if he wants to progress to that upper tier of quarterbacks. His accuracy was all over the place, and I'm going to talk about the deep ball especially, which I would go as far to say is it was abysmal in 2024. He just couldn't seem to hit anything deep this year, and this comes to a shock for me as I thought his deep ball was where he was the most accurate coming out of college. Now, maybe you were confused as to why I'm saying his deep accuracy was so bad after saying how he had tons of high level throws, but you gotta understand, accuracy is not the ability to throw accurate passes, it's the ability to consistently throw accurate passes. So yes, Caleb flashes some incredible throws every game, but on a down-to-down basis, his accuracy was incredibly inconsistent. And he simply just could not connect on the deep ball this year. I feel like there were a few times he hit a perfect deep ball over the top, but whether it was underthrowing or wildly overthrowing, Williams just could not seem to get it dialed in, and a lot of the times his receiver never even had a shot to catch the ball. Sometimes I feel like him and his receivers weren't on the same page, especially on the back shoulders, but most times to me it really felt like Caleb Williams was just missing wildly on these downfield shots. Now, I would say his intermediate and short accuracy was certainly not abysmal, it definitely needs to be more consistent. I felt like every few throws would be behind the receiver, low, or beyond their reach, so if this offense is ever to become truly scary and dynamic, Williams has to, and I mean has to, get his accuracy dialed in. The flashes of elite accuracy are there, but the consistency needs to improve, and he just needs to have any semblance of a deep ball at all. So easily my biggest issue from Williams on film was his accuracy, and he will never reach his true potential if his accuracy does not become more consistent. Next up, this wasn't some massive issue, and I do think it improved as the season went on, but there were plenty of plays where there was an underneath throw like a stick or a hitch as Williams' first read, yet he would turn it down for some reason. Again, I feel like he improved on this throughout the year, but it is something that showed up a decent bit early on and was really puzzling to me. And this kind of relates to my last point again, but here there were plenty of plays where Caleb had an open receiver but just doesn't see it. I feel like it happened a lot on play action and those like kind of over routes. I'm not sure if he just isn't seeing it or if he's just skipping over it, but you cannot be missing wide open receivers constantly. I don't think it was exactly constant, but it happened a decent bit, especially earlier in the year. So I did say earlier that footwork was a strength of Caleb Williams, but I do think his quick game footwork needs to be sped up. On some of these super quick concepts, I think he's just a little slow to release the ball. Thankfully, his arm is so strong he can usually make up for it, but if he's able to get a bit more catch throw instead of catch set throw, I think he can be much more effective in the quick game. And this also relates to the last point, but he didn't exactly help out his O-line too much with how long he held onto the ball, so that certainly needs to improve if he wants to help out his O-line for this next season. And again, this plays into the last point, but I saw a real few anticipatory throws from Williams on film. It felt like he always waited till the receiver was out of his break before letting go of the ball. So if he could improve his timing, throw with more anticipation, and not hold on to the ball too long, these improvements would probably help him not have a bottom of the league time to throw next year. And again, his O-line will probably appreciate this if he can improve as well. Also, I feel like Williams could certainly be more decisive on some of his throws. It wasn't a constant issue, but he could be more consistent with his decisiveness. Now, I feel like this was more the offense than Caleb, but there was a concerning lack of deep shots from Caleb Williams. Yes, his accuracy was not good in this deep area, but he also just didn't throw it deep a lot. I feel like this is more an issue of there were just not a lot of schemed up deep shots called, and while Williams was aggressive in the intermediate to short range, he wasn't aggressive to me when it came to downfield shots. Maybe week 2 against the Texans turned him away from these after he threw 2 picks off of aggressive deep shots, but he must get back into taking regular deep shots to keep the defense on their toes. I feel this was a big issue with Bryce Young as well. During his rookie year, he didn't throw the ball too deep much at all, and in year 2, you saw Young just start to take a lot more consistent deep shots downfield, and it worked out very well for Young in year 2. So I think this is both on the play calling and Caleb. And now, obviously, I'm just going to talk about the plethora of issues that plagued the Chicago Bears as a whole this season. Obviously, Caleb dealt with one of the worst interior offensive lines in the league, probably up there with the Seahawks, potentially even worse. But yeah, that interior of that offensive line, they really just couldn't pick up stunts. They were just getting blown by super constantly and just not really giving Caleb constant protection on every down. And I'm sure you all know this because you've all heard it a million times. But yeah, the offensive line for Caleb Williams was certainly not very good. And I'm very happy to see that the Bears went out and fixed this immediately in free agency. So we will see how Caleb performs with a hopefully better offensive line next year. But yeah, it was not looking good from the O-line this year. And the constant coaching mishaps obviously was just a real letdown and lost the Bears some games single-handedly. So hopefully with Ben Johnson you get more consistent and just better overall coaching. And especially with Shane Waldron, you saw a lot of just really, really poor play calls. But as the season went on and Thomas Brown was calling plays, the play calling got a little better. But overall, I really saw a real just boring and lack of inspiring play design. The play designs for the Bears was just not super good given how dynamic they had some of their weapons as. With Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, Odunze, and Keenan Allen, I feel like they should have been able to do a lot more with that offense, but they just didn't. So I really hope next season they begin to branch out into more unique play calls, especially under Ben Johnson. So I think he will give that offense a big edge in terms of creativity for next season. And just the receiving core had a ton of drops. DJ Moore and Keenan Allen especially constantly, well, I wouldn't say DJ Moore, but Keenan Allen, who was supposed to be the reliable target for Caleb Williams, turned out to be not so reliable. Separation wasn't great from Keenan, just looked slow, and yeah, his hands were just not very consistent. DJ Moore had his plethora of drops as well, and Odunze was not as consistent as you wanted him to be at the catch point as well. So yeah, just overall, just the hands for the receiving core need to improve. And speaking of Rome Odunze, just the criminal misuse of him last season was so apparent to anybody who scouted Odunze during the draft cycle. The Bears I feel like just used him all wrong. Odunze, in coming out of college, was an incredible deep threat, one of the best in the draft, and the Bears just didn't use him as a deep threat. They used him as this kind of half slot, half outside kind of separator type on these in routes and intermediate like digs and crossers, and that's just not Rome Odunze's game. He is a deep downfield winner over the top, go get the ball, and they just really didn't use him like that. So I hope next season Ben Johnson uses Odunze better to his potential and uses him more on a bunch more go routes, deep posts, deep crosses, a lot of the stuff he did at Washington, which he was super effective at with Michael Penix, another quarterback with a really good arm. And then obviously the lack of a really good run game really hurt the offense as a whole and just made the entire offense just less dynamic. So overall, just there were plenty of issues with the Bears that just needed fixing. So now that is my review of Caleb Williams. So overall, what are my opinions on him? I would say I came out of this underwhelmed for my expectations, And my expectations were that he was going to be a very, very solid rookie quarterback, and he was for the most part. Like, you saw those flashes of what made him so great at USC, but the accuracy really took a nosedive this year, and that just needs to improve if he's going to be a top quarterback in the league. But I do think the strengths outweigh the weaknesses with Caleb Williams in his rookie year, especially with what he dealt with. So I think the Chicago Bears have their franchise quarterback, but he must improve, and overall probably performed a little under expectations for me going into this season. But going into next season, he should be much improved with a way better play caller, a better offensive line, and hopefully better use of the resources on the offense by Ben Johnson. So I do think Caleb Williams, as long as he can improve his accuracy, will be must-watch TV for the next upcoming seasons. But he definitely has to improve, and overall, as to say he was part of the problem, I'd say he definitely was a part of the problem. So to say he wasn't a part of the problem, I think, is just wrong. But I also think the people that say he had a bad rookie season are also just wrong. So that is my analysis of Caleb Williams' 2024 rookie season. If you guys did like the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more NFL and draft content. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.